Today is lesson number 10, and we are going to draw this big, gorgeous elephant dancing. Of course you can. Let's have some fun. Okay, welcome back. This is now lesson 10. You've had the first 10 basic lessons. And to be honest, the last lesson for me was the most exciting. Lesson 9 starts to actually point to all those lessons before and start to say, wow, we can do this. We can do this. We can build this. We can judge this. We can look at this. We can take that. We can take this. And this is where it all starts to get exciting. And this lesson today is going to be better. This lesson is going to be the part where you actually start to feel a little bit of freedom. You know, you began to kind of let go of the side of the pool on the last one. This one, you're going to be out in the middle of the water and you're going to feel this. You're going to feel this feeling that you can do it. And what we're going to start doing is we're going to start to play more and more with this thing of shapes and thinking about what we can do with it. And we're going to give a couple examples. Last time we drew this elephant. Okay. So we kind of liked the idea of the elephant, and you know, it was a lovely idea of having the ball and having the dome and having the, you know. And we know that we can add more expression if we want. And this is where we start to think, well, I want to draw. Then you answer it. You want to draw, and then you go and find what you want to draw. And you start to look at it and start to break it down into basic shapes. Once you start to break it down into basic shapes, that gives you the power to do anything you want. And I'll show you an example. Last time in lesson 9, we did an elephant, a very basic elephant. We used the same kind of shape and structure as the goat and things like that. What happens if today I want to do a different elephant? Maybe I want to do something that's, maybe I want him to have, I want to tilt his head. What happens if I want him to have a really big, fat trunk and with a little curly tail or a little curly twist to it? What happens if I want him to have a fat, round body? I don't want him to have a dome. I've done the dome. Okay, so what's my body look like? My body's a little round. Let's use my body, okay? So we're gonna do a little round body. We're gonna put a big round body in there. And we're gonna have him dancing. We're gonna have him putting his arms and his legs so we can put them anywhere we want. So we're gonna start to put a big kind of square there, and maybe another square there, and maybe another arm there, and we're putting in all these big square shapes. Now, I don't know how clearly you can see that, but if I was to draw it in a little bit darker, I would say that there's my round head, and I want him to have a big kind of thick trunk, and I want it to go up into like a little circle, and I want his arms to stick out like that, and I want him to have his arms sticking down like that, and I want him to have a nice big fat body, and I want him to have a leg in the air, and I want him to have a... So all we've done there is we've done our circle, we've done our big fat body, which is going to be that circle there, and we've done our square kind of shapes that we did with our legs, and that's it. And that's basically posing. Now, if you can basically, okay, so maybe you don't really know how to pose. Okay, so how would you draw it if you did a stick man? Maybe you did a stick man who's dancing like this and he's pushing his hand down and he's putting his hand up. Well, surely that's the same as what I've just done. Can you see? What I've basically done is I've given him a trunk and I've given him a fat body and I've given him big square legs and I've given him another square. Can you see how that if I can draw a stick man doing some kind of pose, then I can transfer over into replacing it with shapes. Now this power that you're going to get from being able to see a progression from drawing a stick figure, drawing a circle, drawing a basic shape, and then taking it into drawing a figure is going to massively explode. Now, if we take that shape, and that's basically the same simple shapes, the circle, the big swirl, and we do the body, and we do the arms and the legs, and we think, well, let's put it on a big piece of paper. Let's draw it. Because everything we've done so far has been simple. And a very good practice would be for basically for you to sit and go, well, okay, what would a stick figure be running? Now do this as an exercise. And it's a very powerful exercise, because what it does is it begins to convince your mind that what you're doing is something rather simple. And it starts to give you a little bit of confidence that maybe I could do that. If I was to draw a man running, give him a head, give him his body, give him his leg, like in a little running pose. Then you could draw a round body for an elephant, with a round head for an elephant, and his long nose for an elephant. And you could give him some little square arms. You can't see the other arm because it's behind his big body. But you could put a leg out, and you could put a leg back. And what that would basically, let's give him a little tail just to help. And basically what that will do is that will start to show you how from doing a skinny body to a round body to doing a stick man to an elephant, it's only a small progression from a line to a circle, from a line to a square. The squares being the arms and legs, and the round being the body and the head. So what would happen if we did a man who was dancing? Okay, let's do another dancing one. Let's do him with his arms and legs all, and his body's bent, and his arms over there, and his arms down there. Okay. And you could do the same with your elephant. You could draw his little round body. You could draw his elephant nose, and you could do one arm up here and one arm up there, and you could bend that one, and you can put that one down. And that's basically a progression. This progression is coming from everybody can draw a stick figure. Could we draw a round figure, a stick figure to a round figure? And what this will do, for example, if you wanted to have him fighting, so you have him like this, and you have his arms up, fighting pose, and you have his legs all bent down like that, then you just do your elephant. You do him in that, and you do it with his little arms, and you do him with his trunk, and you do him with these little bent legs. Now, what you're basically doing here is you're beginning to give yourself this power. You're beginning to say, I can do that. I can do that. And when you start to do that, you start to take away this thing that it's difficult. It's complicated. It's something I couldn't do. And what we're doing here is we're basically taking away that stage of drawing a stick figure, and we're giving us a little bit of power. And we're handing this power to ourselves, and we're saying, I could do that. I could. Yes, I could. And once you start to do that, you start to be able to build up a stage, like walking up steps. And once you can go from a stick figure to a round figure, then the next stage is just adding your detail, adding your eyes, adding your expression, adding your shadow, like what we did in lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We are kind of taking those basic circles, those basic shapes, and we're adding these exciting details. We're adding expressions. Once you've done a fighting elephant and you give him an angry eye, and you give him some big growling teeth, and you have his ears up in the air like that, oh, I'm angry, look at this. All of a sudden, that little sketch, that little stick figure to a round figure has suddenly become an angry elephant. An angry elephant with gritting teeth and ready to fight with his fists up. There's the other fist in there, look. And what we can do is we can start to take that and start to practice it. And the more you practice this small stage, just sitting watching TV and just doodling, draw a little stick figure. What is he doing? He's jumping in the air. Okay, what does a man jumping in the air look like? He's like that. He's got his arms in the air and he's like that and his legs are hanging down and the ground is there. Okay, it's a simple stick figure. It's not a major achievement. But once we start to think that a stick is a square and a stick for the body is a round, we can start to replace those. And once we start to replace those, we start to fill ourselves with energy. We start to put our elephant in with a big round body. Here's his round body. And we're going to have his nose looking up in the air because he's jumping. There's his nose pointing up in the air. Let's give him a little smile. And then you've got his arm up in the air. And his legs pointing down. And then we have the ground. Now, if you want to be a little bit, you can add the ears. But here's what it's done. It's taken us from a very basic form into a much more complicated form. Now, if you were to take a bigger piece of paper and to take that very simplified basic form, we could do a full drawing. Starting off with our basics, starting off with our circle, and then drawing our square leg, and then drawing our long nose, and then at each stage going back to the foot. Okay, go back to the leg, and we draw our little wrinkle on that we did in lesson 9. We draw our toenails on that we did in lesson 9. We make sure it's in a nice ellipse for the bottom of the foot, like we did in lesson 9. We start to add these little details. If you start to think, well, I want him in a suit, or I want him with a Superman shirt on, you know. There you go. He's super elephant. And then you can think, oh, it'd be funny if we drew his little red pants on as well. There you go. There's his little red pants. And what you're doing is you're starting to add these little details, and these little details come from all the excitement that you're building up. And this excitement is building up, and this excitement is getting you to do more of it. And these little exercises here are taking you from a stick figure to a full shape onto a very detailed drawing. Okay? Now, when you start to go back through the lessons and you start to add your expression, add your light and shadow, add your whatever through the lessons, you will start to see that from 1 to 10 lessons, you've become a very, very expressive artist. And you've gone from basically knowing nothing to drawing a posed character in any pose we want. And that's quite brilliant. That is really quite brilliant. And it's taken us to a stage where we could really go crazy. We could really start to draw anything. What happens if we did a stick figure and we wanted to draw... What did we do before? We did a goat. Okay, so we've got a running goat. So we did our dome. And we did our goat's face. There he is. And we did his big long horns. And we did his little stick legs. Remember he had little stick legs, didn't he? And we have a little running. So we got his little stick leg running. And his little stick leg running back there. Now you've taken a man to become a goat, to become an elephant. And these are very basic. We're still at this stage where we're only using basic shapes. And once you get to that process, once you start to get used to your basic shapes and you start to take a little bit of a step forward, you start to think about a pose in a stick figure face, a pose, you will start to see that you can basically do anything. And this is so exciting. So once we start to do that, we can start to add expression and light and shadow and everything. We start to get to a very, very, very exciting part. So if we were to take any one of these poses, we could basically put it into a drawing, couldn't we? I hope you're saying yes. And you could do it into a much bigger drawing, and you could basically have fun with it. And you could add all the little elements that would make you feel great. When he's dancing, you know, you could do some big kind of lights beaming down on where he is dancing, and all these little details you can add to it. If he's angry, you could draw another elephant on the other side who's also angry in the same type of way, and you could draw these fighting hands, and you know, and you could do the same type of thing. So this is such a powerful stage to go. So taken from our lessons before, we've got to this stage now, and this is a very, very, very powerful lesson. This element is something you need to practice. You need to practice. You need to basically come up with a character, either one. You can use one of the characters from before, like the hare or the goat or the elephant, whichever, and start to draw your stick figure. Start to draw it in the pose that you would want him to be in, whether he's dancing, running, fighting, jumping, whatever. And then take it to the next process. And that's something that you can do as a practice. You can just do it with your little sketch pad in front of the TV, listening to the radio, sitting in the garden, and you can start to build and build on that strength, build on that muscle. Now, once you've got to that power, you can really start to do something on a big scale, and you can really start to loosen up with your drawing. You can loosen up with your character. You can loosen up with your expression. You can loosen up with all the poses that you think you can do. And this is one of my favorite, because I find that once you've got this stage with taking a stick figure to a round figure, and you have your notebook, you could be sitting on the bus and you'd think, oh, wouldn't it be funny if an elephant was climbing a mountain? Oh, yeah. Oh, let's put a helmet on him. Let's put a backpack on him. And all of a sudden, you start to create a little world just from your notebook, just from your ideas, just from little sketches, from a stick man to a round man, from a stick man to a round elephant. And you start to build all of these exciting processes. And this is where your sketchbook becomes very, very valuable. And everywhere I go, I take a sketchbook and I sit in a train or I sit on a bus and I sketch. So let's just have a little bit of fun here with something. Let's just take one of these drawings. Since we've already drawn that slightly bigger so you can see it, let's do the dancing elephant. Okay, and we'll take any pen. Yeah, we could draw it in there. We could draw it in this. So we'll basically put in a basic circle, and we'll come up with a nice big swirl from the elephant, and we're going to give him a nice chunky body. And we can give him little ears like that, just to make it a little bit fun. And we're just using the same type of shapes as we've done before. And we've got one leg in the air, so we can do that. And we've got one leg down on the ground, so we keep that right below him. And we've got a little arm that's pushing down there. And now, here's the stage where we're still at the basics, and we could think, well, what do we do? Do we want to put a nice shirt on him? Do we want to put a dancing suit on him? Do we want to give him some curly hair? Do we want to give him a hat? Do you want to give him earrings? Do you want to give him makeup? Whatever you want. And here's where we can really have a little bit of fun with it. And here's where we can start to enjoy that process. You're confident now. You are confident. You can draw a circle. You can draw a square. You can draw a lot of these shapes. You're confident with that. You can now draw a stick figure. You can draw a little stick man. And you can draw a stick man in many, many different poses. Now, in lesson 3, you knew about expressions, about building expressions, and about building proportions of heads. So all the way through these lessons has led to this. So now we are going to just let go. We are just going to draw an elephant with all of our lessons built up to this point. So there's nothing at this point to frighten you. There is nothing at this point to make you feel less confident. You know how to build everything so far. And if there's any stage of these little 10 lessons that you're unsure of, that you don't know, go back and watch it. Go back and practice it. But everything is there in these 10 lessons. And this is where we start to have a little bit of fun with it. This is where you relax. You're confident with all of the things that you've known, and you can just draw. So, shall we draw? Shall we do some ink? We haven't done ink for a while. Let's do some ink, and that will give us some confidence, because ink cannot be erased. If you're not ready for it, do some pencil, okay? And if you get lost, just rub it out and draw it again. And if there's any of the lessons that you don't know, go back again. So, here's where our elephant is going to come. We've got the pose. We worked out roughly what we're going to do. Let's move some of those pencils. And here's where we start to do a fun drawing. Here's where we're going to give him some little eyes. Let's give him some little eyes. And this is our elephant. It's only a circle. Don't worry. We know how to draw circles. And we give him another circle on the other side. And we're going to give him those little eyes that I taught you how to draw, a little bit with the black, and then you do a little highlight on it. Nothing new there. We're going to give him some little eyebrows. Very simple. Nothing too exciting. Now, let's give him a pair of glasses. It's always nice when people wear glasses. It's always gorgeous, isn't it? So, let's give him some star-shaped glasses. That'll drive you crazy, won't it? Doesn't have to be. You can do a round pair of glasses if you're unsure. And we'll just thicken those out and bring them back so that they look nice and thick. And then inside, draw the frames, which is just the same shape on the outside. Whoo! That looks funky. So, oh, just dropped a piece of ink. I always do that, don't I? Luckily, we've got a piece of paper there just to dry it up. Made a bit of a mess, but doesn't matter. what happens? If it's not perfect, we still do it. We still enjoy it, right? This is all about enjoyment. This is all about having fun. And this is all about building confidence. And the only way to build confidence is to really do it. Just do it. If you've already done these, what are we now, lesson 10? If you've already done 10 lessons, you must already be pretty good. I think so. I will fix that little blood in a minute. We're going to give him some nice big frames on his glasses, so he looks like he's really having a party, this elephant. Now what we're doing is we're making this up as we go along. Okay, we are making this up as we go along. You can draw your elephant in any way you want. You can give him hair, you can give him a hat, you can do whatever you wish. Okay, I'm going to just draw that. That line coming down there, and that's going to be his nose. And we're going to give him his ear. And we know how to draw an ear because we drew an ear in lesson 9. So again, we have got so much confidence. We're going to get a nice and wobbly ear like we did in the last lesson too. We're going to give him a couple of wrinkles in his ear like we did in the last lesson. I'm going to give him that big round top of his head. Just give him a couple of little lines in there just to make him look like he's extra surprised at all the fun he's having. And we're going to bring up the other ear. Exactly as we did on that side and exactly as we did in the last lesson. If you're unsure about how to do it, just drop on back to last lesson and all of the details are there. Okay, so we've got a lovely elephant. Now I think we need to have a smile. So I'm just going to bring the line in there to give him this big smile so it looks like he's having a lot of fun. Let's do that. In fact, we could probably even give him a little open mouth, couldn't we? Which is just like another little dome. So there's nothing to worry about. Fantastic. Give him a little tongue. And give him some little teeth. And these are the little details we were talking about, you know? About adding little details to your drawing. Anything to make you feel happier. Well, that's looking nice. Now, that's the other side of his trunk. Now we've got a big ellipse here. We did a big ellipse before on the feet. And we're just going to do a nice big ellipse. Like that. Little flick on the end. Oh, they've started building again next door. Sorry about the noise. And there we have that coming in. A little bit wider on the bottom like we did in the last lesson. I like the idea of having the feet going all the way around the edge. Making it look a little bit more padded. And we did some toes. You remember how to do the toes? Just a little dome, and a little dome, and another little dome. We gave it a little wrinkle on the top, didn't we? And then we did this little spiral thing here to kind of give it that kind of joint. Now on the nose, we just did this kind of zigzag, 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 zigzag all the way down, just to kind of give it that wrinkle. And that was quite beautiful. So and that's just us zigzagging, just to kind of give it this feeling of a big wrinkle. And we're going to bring his nose up and round. And you remember how we did the nose on the last one? We did it kind of like two fingers almost. One at the top, one at the bottom. And we did that also in lesson 9, so we should have no problems here with this. Drawing our elephant's nose all the way around. We can do a few more little... Lovely. So we got ourselves a very, very happy elephant. So let's just draw the back. We're just going to take it from the base of his neck and we're going to bring it down. Keep it nice and round. And maybe like what we did in lesson 9, we also gave him a little tail. Do you remember? So we could add a little tail there just for a bit of fun. And it was just like a little kind of stick shape. Make it a little bit thicker at one end if you wish. And we just did some hair at the end of his tail. Make it look very elephant-like. Elephants have very thin tails with lots of hair at the end of it. And there we have it. Lovely. So, here comes our arm. And you remember this has just come from a stick figure. And all the things that we're drawing one by one. Now I'm only drawing the arm. I only stick with the draw. I'm only thinking about the arm. I do not think about the rest of the drawing. Do not worry about the mistake I made on his glasses. I don't worry about how the other feet are going to be. Just draw that arm and enjoy only that arm. That way you're thinking about the basics of the shape, which is kind of like a square shape, kind of toilet roll shape with the ellipse on it. Very simple. Just thinking about that. Just thinking about the toenails, which are little domes, and don't think about anything else. If you start thinking about everything else, then you'll start to get too much going on in your mind, and that's just not needed. 2, 3. That looks good. So, I'm going to draw this other leg now. Oh, we forgot his little elbow bit, didn't we? And we're just going to bring that all the way down. Bring it round. And that's our ellipse. And then we're going to draw our little toenails. You see how repetitive this actually is becoming. We're drawing an ellipse, we're drawing a dome, and I'm just repeating these very basic instructions to you. Just a dome, we're just drawing a dome, we're just drawing a dome. Let's draw a little line in the dome. Just little things. And that way it keeps everything stress-free. Here comes another one. And we give him that little wrinkles. And we give him a little... So, as you can see, at the moment, I haven't really added anything to him. I haven't added a jacket to him or anything like that. But we could have added a jacket. We could have added some trousers. We could have added some dancing shoes. But I thought just for today, we would just add some glasses on him and keep it nice and simple. Coming down to draw the other foot. Again, down. Now what do we do next? What's missing? That's right. A couple of little dome toenails. We're drawing the little dome toenails in. 1, 2, 3. At this point, I hope you're feeling amazing. I hope you're beginning to feel brilliant. I hope you're beginning to feel clever, because you have just drawn a dancing elephant. A dancing elephant. Well, in fact, let's put some little bits of hair on him, because we did do that elephant before that was angry. And maybe this is the same angry elephant who's now happy and he's gone dancing. That would be a happy ending to our story. So, there we have our elephant, and he's dancing. And everything from this has been done in a very, very basic way. Okay, now this is now where we're taking the drawing from. We've already taken it from this piece of paper here. We've already taken it from a dancing elephant, which was this one. We've taken it from a stick man. We've taken it from the stick man to the dancing elephant, and then we did it in a bigger pose like this, and then we took it to this. Now, at this stage, we could have added clothes to him. We could have added glitter. We could have added lights. But these are all things that you can add. At this point here, we have drawn a round-headed elephant with a big round on his trunk going down to a little round on his trunk. We've done some kind of square or triangle shaped ears. We've done an ellipse on the end of like a toilet roll tube. And we've done that for every leg. The body is a big circle. So we have actually only done a few simple shapes to draw this whole elephant. Now, is that dry? Then I can fix my glasses. Has that dried out? And then I can put a little bit of white paint in there just to fix my glasses. Very sad about that. There you go. That's his glasses. So, this is only lesson 10, and you've already done this. So, for me, I'm extremely happy. I'm extremely proud of this process. From only a few little simple lessons, we have started to build up our poses, build up our shapes, build up stickmen, building up little round characters based on our stickmen. Where we can add shading, we can add expression, we can add different characters. We can have a skinny elephant, we could have a round elephant, we could have a tall elephant, short, whatever we do with our proportions. And we can go on and do a few more lessons about building the structure of a body and drawing men and women. But at this point now, we have drawn so much in such a short space of time. And I'm really, really, really proud of you. I'm really proud of all those people that sent me in their drawings. So many people sent me in drawings of the goat and the hare and the cat. We did a cat as well. And all these lessons are coming in. Basically, these people are sending me in a message, but they're basically saying, I did it. I did it. I took it from a circle to a cat. I took it from a circle to an elephant. I took it from a square to a dog or whatever. You know, from all these very, very basic things that you're drawing circles, drawing triangles, and they've taken it all the way to drawing a full character in a pose with an expression. And if this was dry, we could put some shading on it and make him look nice and round. So, once again, Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for watching. I had an absolute fantastic day with my elephant. And thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for watching. And please hit the subscribe, because there is going to be a lot more lessons coming. And I'd really like you to draw along with me. I had great fun. So, have a beautiful day. Practice your stick men. Practice your little round men, okay? Practice these poses. And once you start to get into a habit with it, draw it into a character like what we did today, okay? Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very, very soon, okay? Thank you very much. Bye-bye.